Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined with my KBO partner in crime here, Mr. Andrew Hansen, on this wonderful Thursday, July 2nd, 2020. How are you today, Andrew?
I'm doing well, Coach. I'm on the road today, visiting
Yeah.
the in-laws here as we begin the holiday weekend. So excited about that, and we'll see if technology will cooperate here. But uh, yeah, golf's off to a great start here. Our value picks are doing really well. Uh,
Yeah.
KBO was not quite as strong last night, so we got a rebound here, and hope that Thursday, Friday, and we build into a big, strong weekend here.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will. Uh, Last night there were just, sometimes things catch up on a few guys. They did, and you're going to have some of that from time to time. There are some variants that you got to count in there, but tonight, if the weather holds, that's the big problem. If the weather holds, I really think it's a great slate. I worked on all 5 games pretty diligently, and then in checking the weather before the show here, we see 3 games, specifically 2 games that we could be in trouble with. And let's just face it, guys, we've been down this road enough times in the last couple months here, or however long we've been doing KBO, is generally whatever the percentages are of rain that they have listed, you can double it, because they do not think for more than 1 second about canceling a game. So just lay the lay of the land a little bit right here. It's all 5:30 Eastern a.m. Eastern games, 4:30 here in Dallas, and the issue is we've got 41% rain chance in the Kia Dinos game, 42% in SK and Lotte, and 16% in LG and Sam. Normally I wouldn't stress on 16, but I've seen games canceled at 16. So we're going to watch that closely. Again, we're all sour that we got to, be concerned it may end up being a 2 or 3 game slate. But again, let's use that advantage. There's not a whole lot of teams out there that get up and get those changes made, check the rain, check the lineups. And you will pretty much always have the 3 pros in there with Andrew and Shane and myself. So, we're going to look at it on the half full side, that this is going to give us an edge tonight. I think there are some really strong plays in the games that don't have any chance of rain. And I did have a little mini stack set up in the 42% rain game, which I'll prepare to have a pivot if we need to, for sure. So that's really the lay of the land with that whole entire deal. But 350 for me here in Dallas, which is 450 for Andrew on the East Coast. We'll probably be jumping into Discord and getting these lineups straightened out. But it should be a fun card for those games that do play, and there are some good pitchers and some good fades as well. So before we jump in, quick thanks to our sponsors, MyBookie, which is mybookie.ag. Go there for all of your sports wagering and casino action, and you get an exclusive offer just for Coach Talk members. Sign up through the dfscoachtalk.com website and use the promo code Coach Talk, all one word, and you receive a 50% sign-up bonus all the way to $1,000 and a $25 free play. And also our buddies at TVG. You can go to tvg.com and sign up, or you can go through the dfscoachtalk.com to sign up, and also use the promo code Coach Talk, and TVG will give you a risk-free $300 bet, which is really a cool offering that you can't get unless you're a Coach Talk member. So we're very excited about that. If you're watching us on YouTube like you normally are, I never know which way to point. I think it's this way. Subscribe and hit that alarm That's really important. We want to continue to go up the subscribe list so people can find us. And if you hit that alarm, for those of you that listen to us just about every day, then we post at a little bit different times depending on weather, situations, etc. And if you have that little alarm, you'll get a nice notice saying, hey, the podcast was just posted. So please do that, and all on social media as well. Dive on there with us. Our website's dfscoachtalk.com. Twitter, we're at DFS Coach Talk. YouTube, like I said, DFS Coach Talk flat out. And on Instagram, DFS_Coach Talk. So you can find us everywhere. You can hear us, the audio version of this podcast, everywhere podcasts can be heard. So we're everywhere, Andrew. I think, if you're looking for some KBO advice in action and PGA advice in action, we'll have another show tomorrow on PGA as well for the weekend for those dummies like me that took Scotty Scheffler. I don't even want to go there. Can you believe my whole team is under par? Scotty Scheffler basically almost shot an 80, which I think I might be able to shoot. So anyway, sorry, I digress. I had to get that out there, Mr. Scotty Scheffler. So anyway, that's the schedule today. Let's dive into these 5 games, and we're going to review all of them, weather or not weather, and then we'll reassess as the evening goes on. And it's so far out; it's literally 12 hours until game time. So it's that the radar is a little tough to completely grasp, especially when this front isn't supposed to affect all of South Korea, just a portion of it. So we'll follow it closely. All right, my man. Hanwha Eagles, 12-38. Doosan Bears, 29-21. And as we go to the mybookie.ag odds, we have the Doosan Bears as way, way, way the biggest favorite of the night. Do you want to take a gander?
How about minus 330?
416.
Wow.
They're getting crazy with these lines in KBO this last week. They must have got stung pretty good, so they're pumping the lines up big. But yeah, Doosan's minus 416, over-under's 9.5, and over-under's almost a moot point tonight. We have 4 9.5s and 1 8.5, so there's not a whole lot of tell in the over-unders. So there we go. We got a big chalk favorite in this first game, and this game, as of right now, has a 1% chance of rain. That makes me feel pretty good about this game. So is this a key game? Who do you like? And are you going to mess with either one of these pitchers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a key game for me, whether it's a 2-game slate or a 5-game slate. And you got to keep in mind that because this is a 1% rain game, you have to look at this as potential that it's one of the 2 games on the slate. So you have to really think about, I may need to take one pitcher here and one of the lineups and really stack them heavily because we only have 2 games to choose from. So I'm looking at Doosan here. Surprise, surprise. They are the big favorites. We stack them a lot. So we've got Alcantara.
There's only 4 things that I know in life for sure. I know that I'm going to leave this earth someday. I know I'm going to have to pay taxes until then. And I know you're going to stack Doosan and have it a 3-star slate.
There you go. That's a core 4. Man. That's a good way to the fundamentals right there. That's a nice core 4. So
go for it. What do you got?
Yeah, so Alcantara, he's facing Hanwha. You gave their record. We know they had a historic losing streak this year, just very weak up and down the lineup. So a guy that will give you innings, and because Doosan had to go deep into the bullpen yesterday against Kiwoom, they should have him out there to eat up as many innings as possible. Great strikeout ratio. He's been strong lately. Solid price on DraftKings at 8,600. So he'll be in a bunch of my lineups. And then these Doosan hitters, they get this, really he's a reliever. He just had a couple starts here. He was okay against Samsung, wasn't very good against the Dinos. and he did pitch a few innings in relief against Doosan. Jaewon Kim hit a home run against him. So he handled that lefty matchup fine. But again, this could be one of two games on the slate. So I'm prepared to play really as many as 5 Doosan Bears. You got a lot of good options. I'm not too concerned about the lefty matchup here. So, Fernandez, of course, he had the 5-hit game a couple days ago. Jay Elo has been really hot at 4,200. Jay Cha, they're finally pricing him up now. He's at 3,500, but he's first base, second base eligible. We like the catcher S Park. He's been priced up now to 3,800. K Her priced up to 35, but still all acceptable to me. And K Park, of course, at the top. All those guys are going to be in the mix for a 4 or 5 man stack for me if we're looking at a 2-game slate.
Yeah, and I refuse to count out that 16% LG Samsung game. I'm going to save some hope that at least those 3 play. But again, I'm looking at this as a 5-game slate for now, knowing that 2 are probably somewhat doubtful. But this game, for me, I think Alcantara is a really good play. I mean, I like 3 pitchers today, and I'm going to use all 3 in a couple different lineups on DraftKings. Alcantara is not going to be my solo pitcher as of right now on FanDuel, but I do like him. I mean, obviously the strikeout ratio against a lousy team, he is 7-1 with a 3.71 ERA. He's an innings eater too, and like you said, the Doosan bullpen is a little taxed. I definitely can see him going a good 7 innings tonight, and a strong play and probably pretty chalky. If we do get some of those rainouts, he's going to be mega chalky. So we've got to keep a real close eye on that. I obviously then do not like any of the Hanwha bats. I like a couple of guys. I'm probably not going to stack Doosan unless forced to with the rainouts, but I do like Fernandez in 2-3. I mean, Fernandez is hot. 2 nights ago with those 5 hits. I don't usually like to take a guy right after that. I like it wait a game or 2. I mean, he's still hot, but yet just the law of averages. You're not going to see a guy go 10 for 10 very often. So I love this spot. I think that Bum-Soo Kim is not like super strong against lefties. The splits aren't like devastating. I think anybody can hit him. 4.34 ERA, 4 losses on a bad team. Just seems like a safe play that Doosan will score some runs, and a safe play for Alcantara as well.
Right on.
Game 2, 41% chance of rain.
You mean 98?
Yeah, 92 or 82. We double. Yeah. We at least double, right?
I doubled and added 16 just for fun. Get it right up there by 100.
I'll tell you, we are not taking any chances in these rain games. That's for sure. But you've got the Kia Tigers 26-21, NC Dinos 34-15, and my bookie odds on this game are the Dinos minus 185, which isn't that bad. 185 favorite, 9.5 like 4 of the other games. So key factors here are, if the game plays, who are you looking at?
I'm not going to have much exposure to this one. I don't really want to get involved in this matchup between Drew Gagnon and the Dinos hitters. Gagnon, really good strikeout guy, but he can't seem to get through a game without giving up at least 3 or 4 runs.
Right.
Obviously, it's a tough lineup, but it's not like he's a weak pitcher that I want to attack. So I just want to avoid that matchup for the most part. And then maybe 1 or 2 bats at Kia I would consider. They're facing a lefty, and that's just not the ideal scenario for Kia with Cha and Tucker and MU. So I'll look at Sun Bin Kim at the top of the order, 4,300 on DraftKings. He's been excellent getting on base lately since he came back into the lineup. And then Ji-Wan Na would be in the player pool as well at 3,700 in the outfield.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a few guys you can take from this game, and good for me, I guess. I did the handicapping of all these games before I looked at the weather, and this was a pass game for me all the way around. I know, Gagnon can be inconsistent, but just don't want to pay those enormous prices for the Dinos hitters. I guess you could pick on and stack Kia. The Dinos pitcher is 0-0 with a 6.11. But he's a lefty, and we like to usually stack Tucker and Cha in those lineups, and those guys are all lefties. So, this game for me was a pass game before I saw the propensity for this to rain out. And I built 3 lineups on DraftKings and 1 on FanDuel so far, and I don't have a player from either team, which is very odd. But now that I know it's more than likely going to rain out, or could, we're all, 41% to us. Everybody else listening that hasn't followed KBO says, what are you talking about? You have a better than 50-50 chance. Then you haven't been following KBO.
No.
It's almost like they're afraid of the rain. I don't know what the deal is there, but it is what it is. So, all right, let's jump right to game 3 then. This is an important game for me. I'll just tell you right now. This is that 16% rain game, so I'm really hoping this one plays, because it is sort of the heart of a lot of my builds. It is LG at 28-22. At Samsung 27-24, so 2 pretty evenly matched teams. And my bookie has this one at where are we here? Let me update it. I always like to update to get the very, very latest. And there's the new screen. And we have LG as a 131 road favorite. Again, pretty close, 9.5, and I just think this game looks juicy for DFS. What do you think?
Interesting. Well, this pitcher for Samsung is interesting, because he started off really slow this year, and he got absolutely hammered by LG. I mean, hammered. 4 innings, 8 earned runs, and 14 hits. That's not easy to accomplish, to give up 14 hits in one outing. But in the last 13 innings he's pitched, he's only given up 1 earned run. So this is a lefty that's really trending in the right direction against a lefty-heavy team.
Yeah. So
I'm going to fade that matchup for the most part. I am going to look at KU, the catcher, when they faced off earlier, 3 for 3, 2 doubles and a home run. Against Beck. So, at 4,500, I'm going to invest in that matchup in some of my lineups if this game goes off. But let me get your take on the other matchup here, Samsung and Tyler Wilson. You excited about that one?
For the hitters,
yeah.
I don't like Tyler Wilson. I don't like his stuff. I know I say it every
Samsung.
5th day. Yeah, I just don't like his stuff. It's flat. I just don't like the ball he throws. I like the fact that there's some real nice lefties in the middle of that order. And it's funny because I really like Beck tonight. You sort of mentioned him either the last game or 2 games ago. And, he has some good stuff. He's got 4 quality starts in a row where he's really done a great job. Now, I know this team crushed him last time, but he is definitely not the pitcher he was at the very beginning of the season. So I think for me, I think he buckles down and gets it done. Being a lefty, Ramos is in a hellacious slump. You've got Lee and a few of the other left-handed guys that, in the middle of that lineup, that it's going to hurt a little bit. So I think Beck's a great play, and he's the cheapest pitcher on DraftKings, which is ludicrous to me. So,
and let me give you a stat comparison here.
Yeah.
if you compare Beck with Tyler Wilson in this game,
Yeah.
okay, it's amazing because they're both 3-3. They both have an ERA of almost exactly 4.5. They both have a WHIP between 1.3 and 1.4.
Right.
Beck has a better strikeout ratio than Wilson, but Beck is 6K and Tyler Wilson is 9,500. I have not seen a statistical comparison like that with as much discrepancy on prices. I don't think all season. It's just amazing. The only difference in Wilson's favor is that Beck has given up 7 home runs. Wilson's only given up 4. But again, that was really, a lot earlier in the season. Beck is in much better form right now. So it's just crazy how much value you get on that price if you're willing to take the gamble to put him up against LG.
And we didn't talk about this prior to the podcast, but we're exactly on the same page. I mean, not only have I been down on Wilson, I think he's trending down, and Beck is. I mean, you can stack him up against a lot of pitchers in this league. The last 4 starts, he's been terrific. So I just, the price makes it too good to pass up for me on DraftKings. I mean, he's going to be my second pitcher on all my DraftKings lineups. I'm just saying right now. Now, FanDuel, it's a different ball game with just that one pitcher. But if you have courage, he's super cheap there as well, and he's very rosterable. I may throw a second lineup in just because he basically gives you another spot where you can put a stud hitter in rather than a cheap hitter. It's that much of a difference. I believe it's an $8 or $9 difference from the top pitcher down to Beck on FanDuel. So definitely like him on DraftKings, and I do like some of these bats in the middle of the order, and they're cheap. I've been taking some of these guys on and off in the cheaper side of things, and they produce. They're hitting the ball well, 3 games over 500, and they're I think you can roster up. For me, I'm looking at Heyman Park, Jae-Woo Koo, and W. Lee, Won-Seok Lee. I really like him, and he still remains to be a pretty good deal. So I'm all over this 2-3-4 stack. If you twisted my arm, I could even consider S. Lee in the 5 hole. And,
yeah, he's only 2,400 on DraftKings.
No, I know. It's just that first base spot is so hard to, there's so many good first basemen, but he's a great value guy. If you do need another value spot, you want to complete that stack. So I've been high on Samsung lately.
Yeah, and they do have 2 S. Lees, and the one it's weird. Their prices have been fluctuating, but the one we want actually is Seong-Gun Lee, who on DraftKings now is outfield eligible. Right. So that's where you can find him for 2,400.
Oh wow, yeah, that makes it much different play. I'll have to check on FanDuel because sometimes they have different positions for these guys. So I'll double check that. Excellent. There's a good value play. I'm high on Samsung though. I think they could be dangerous tonight. Let's go to game 4. This one is the 42% or 84% rain game. SK Wyverns 14-36 at the Lotte Giants 23-25. And you've got Ricardo Pino against Adrian Sampson. And the MyBookie odds on this game, we have, where are we? 161 favorite for the Giants. So decent favorite, nothing spectacular, but that's also the 9.5 game. So all 4 games so far have been 9.5. And the only we have 1 game remaining is the 8.5 game. So pretty even, no 10.5, 11.5s like we've been getting lately. But this was my little sneaky mini stack that I'm really sad may rain out. So what do you think about this game?
Well, I'll be curious how you want to build that one. But for me, I have some interest in Adrian Sampson. He started off poorly this year, but 2 starts ago against KT, 6 innings, no earned runs, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, and he gets SK, which is not a good hitting team. So
No.
I think he's worth considering as an alternative to a couple of these other pitchers. He's not my favorite pitcher or my second favorite, but he's right there in the mix. On the flip side, I don't really want to stack against Pinto with too many guys because he's only given up 1 home run in 56 innings.
I know.
So it's more of a station to station type situation. But lefties hit 322 against him, so I do like Asiap San at 3,900 on DraftKings. And I wouldn't be opposed to one of the righties, Jay Gian, etc. But for me, it's probably just going to be Asiap San, and that's it.
Yeah, this game's a tough one. Pinto, I've not been a fan of his all season, and he doesn't really overpower, do anything fantastic out there. But he's a professional pitcher, and he keeps the ball down and keeps it in the park. And really, Lotte is much stronger from the right side. So facing a right-handed pitcher, with Jung and Gian and Lee and all those guys are righties. So between the aspect of just a low occurrence of home runs given up by Pinto and the splits side of things, I'm passing on the Lotte bats. Not that I'm saying I'd play Pinto on the pitching side, but I just don't like the mix. I know you've talked a little bit about Sampson lately, and he's improving. I am not convinced yet. I still think that he's inconsistent. His ERA is still up at 6.26, and there's a couple of SK bats that I like here. And anytime you can get 3-4 hitters, I've been taking Jamie Romack a lot lately, and he's been hit and miss. Sometimes he's come through, sometimes he doesn't. But Jay Cha, the cleanup hitter as well. I like both of those guys. I think they're both good options. On FanDuel, they're fairly priced for what I think they can produce. And on DraftKings, depending on your build, I've got Romack listed in at first right now. And on one of the lineups, I have Cha. Really, those are the two guys that I'm focusing on. Even though they're righties against a righty, Sampson has given up hits sort of freelance to both sides of the plate. So if that game does play, which it's not looking too great, the only really guys that I'll take are probably those two, or maybe just one of them as a one-off from the SK side, believe it or not.
Okay, well, I mean, you're right about Sampson in that he's inconsistent and he's not overpowering. He's not the ace that they want. But again, I side in the end with the lack of depth in that SK order. So those guys could certainly get him for an extra base hit or two, no doubt about it. But if it was a choice for me between either you can have some SK bats or Sampson tonight, I would go with Sampson.
Okay, we'll be battling on that one if it doesn't rain out. We'll see what happens. All right, Game 5. This game looks like 0% chance of rain. So we love this game for sure. This has my pitcher of the night with me and 18 quintillion other people. But, I feel like I've drawn the line with some other contrarian takes along the way here. I don't think as many people will play Beck. I don't think, a couple of the SK guys, a few of the, one-offs, I think will give me a lot of differential in my lineups so that I can go with Chalk City here. And I'm sure you know who that is, but it is the Kiwoom Heroes at 32 and 19 at the KT Wiz that are 23 and 27. Kiwoom is a $1.75 favorite on the road, which isn't too bad considering it's got one of the best pitchers. He was in the top 3 in hard hit balls against. His strikeouts have been okay, but he's been solid, consistent, and I just think this is a great matchup for him.
Mr. Jokic, huh? You're going with the Joker.
I'm going with the Joker. I'm going to have to be in Discord posting my GIFs, however you want to call them, of the Joker and, all the different ones. So it is what it is. I just really think he's the best guy on the slate. He is expensive, but because of what I think gaff in Beck's pricing, it allows me to bumper the old most expensive, cheapest guy. Just happens that way.
Well, how about this? I love Jokic. I think he's excellent. I've played him a lot, but maybe this is one of those situations where I'm going to be a little bit contrarian, where maybe you and Shane are more often taking that approach. If it's a 2-game slate, I'm going to have to play some Jokic, but I'm going to build a few lineups where I get a couple KT Wiz bats and fade him.
Nice.
And one of the reasons is if you look at the matchup earlier between Jokic and KT, if you just glance at it, 7 innings, no earned run, 5 hits, 9 strikeouts. All right, well, he dominated them. But, if you look at where did those hits go, Jay Bay at the top of the order, single, double, single. Okay, he was 3 for 3 against him. And we know Rojas destroys lefties. He had a single, a walk, and he I think it was a strikeout. So 1 for 2 with a walk. Jay Bay was 3 for 3. So, you can get those bats, and if he pitches around them, or if they get him again, maybe it's not going to be Jokic's best night. We know that KT has a lot of strong right-handed bats. Jay Huang has been hot. S. Jang, the catcher, is solid. He didn't face him the first time around. Park, the other infielder, he was 3,100 last night. He's been coming on. So you got some really strong right-handed bats here that he's going to have to deal with. So I'm just not all in on Jokic tonight, and I'm going to have some exposure to those bats.
Wow. Oh, we are definitely battling on this one.
Yeah.
I just, for me, I think Bay is a decent play if you're not playing the Joker. I think he could scratch out some hits, but I can't see him. I've seen the Joker pitch probably maybe 2 or 3 times. He's been on a decent amount. And when it's a super pitcher that he's going against, hitter, he's very cautious, and I don't think he's going to give Rojas diddly-do to hit. That's just my thinking. And Kang's okay, but for me, I just am not crazy about the bottom of that order myself. Han Yun Yu, K Park, Tai Gon Oh, Jay Jang, and Woo Jun Sim. That just it isn't real conducive to bunching a bunch of extra base hits together. I think if he handles Bay, that's key, and pitches around Rojas, I think this is one of those quality starts just like last time, 8 innings, 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, how about this? We differ a lot on games 4 and 5. This will be fun to see how they play out.
And which ones play of game 4
right.
plays. So, yeah, there's lots of different ways to build your lineup. And, the great part about it is, we team up going through all of this, making the mentions of everybody on each podcast, and then we post our lineups and player pools in Discord about 30 minutes before lock, some right in that neighborhood, so it gives you time to adjust lineups. And right now I'm producing a FanDuel dead nuts lineup. You can play that lineup and go after it with me. I'll also give you about 3 pivots of guys that I like. If there's someone in there that you're not crazy about, 3 or 4 pivots, and then Andrew, just as Shane does, will put up. Andrew will put up his player pool for DK, which will encompass his top picks in the different areas, and you'll get a variance of pricing. You'll have some chalk guys, you'll have some medium priced, and you'll have some bargain basement. And I think Andrew's the best in the business that I've ever seen as far as finding value in the cheapest guys in multiple sports, including KBO. if you've been following us on golf, it's almost uncanny. He's pulling these guys out that, I was going to make fun of him. The 2 weeks ago when he took Duncan, I said, is that Tim Duncan from the Spurs?
Right. Yeah, T. Duncan.
He's pulling these guys out, and they're getting top 20 finishes. So, I've got that kind of confidence in him. And I think when you look at that pool, and, we did have a conversation about that earlier, our goal is to give you a player pool where you can really formulate your lineup a little bit based on what we're telling you here and then what you're seeing in that player pool, that for those that play multiple lineups, they can build multiple lineups. For those that want to hone more in on setting one strong lineup, again, take the information we're sharing with you here and then build that where it's going to fit and the money's going to fit. And like I say, if you're playing one or two of Andrew's value guys, that usually opens the door for you for, to stack some really strong players. So looks like a great card. We want to just stay super hot. We're extremely excited because 4 weeks from today, believe it or not, 28 days from right now, tonight, right now, 4 weeks from now, we'll be talking about the NBA. So, of course, everybody knows that is my favorite. I love the NBA. I live, breathe the NBA. Cannot wait. And even sooner than that, we have baseball. So, in the meantime, we still got a good solid 3 weeks where our 100% focus is KBO and PGA. And, we've taken down some good ones. I had $1,700 and a $1,300 takedown. Andrew had the big $5,300 night. So let's build these bankrolls. Let's keep it rolling. Let's stay focused on this stuff. And just know that in the background, our team is preparing for the major sports as well. So we're going to continue winning, keep the streak alive, keep hot, and also keep preparing every day. And as I said, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe and definitely hit that alarm button so you know when we post. And when you're on there, again on YouTube or DFS Coach Talk, we have a great library of podcasts if you want to start preparing for basketball or baseball. The other thing I wanted to mention, last night was the first night, or second night, they're doing 30 teams in 30 days on the NBA TV channel, and they're sort of encompassing what the team's done to this far, highlights of their season. Like I was watching the Lakers, and it just showed, who they beat, who they lost to, what their team's looking like, and, talked a little bit about guys like Avery Bradley that's not going to play, Dwight Howard might play. So if you're an enthusiast like me, check out NBA TV as well. We need to get them as a sponsor. I love that NBA TV. So
yeah.
All right, man. I think that's most of it. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag, and TVG, where the world watches and wagers on horse racing. Go to tvg.com, or you can catch it on any of your cable networks. They are so good, they have a TVG1 and a TVG2. So great stuff. Anything else there, sir?
That's it. Thank you all for listening and joining, and we look forward to crushing it with our members tonight and continue on through the weekend here with KBO and PGA.
Fantastic. We appreciate all of you listening in, and we're very excited tomorrow for a doubleheader. Tomorrow's my doubleheader day. We get the PGA KBO going, so join us again tomorrow as well. We'll get this all posted and up. We'll see hopefully a lot of you in Discord tonight, and we'll be back again tomorrow as we look to crush it in DFS.